What's up, guys? This is Sode back with you. Better Off Dead, Tuesday, June 24th. If you're following me on Twitter, I mentioned I was going to have a delayed start to the show here. I feel like ass since I woke up yesterday. It's gotten a little bit worse, so this is awesome. I'm like pounding vitamins, pounding NyQuil. This is just, this is some bullshit, man. So I feel like shit. Yesterday did not go well on the show. 1 and 2. Texas Rangers did not hit. They lost badly. Trevor Rogers, I had completely wrong. He pitched really well, so I might have to reassess what's going on with him. We did get the win with Atlanta, the Braves, even though they were up 3-0 early and never scored again, but they held the lead the whole time, wound up winning 3-2. So I'll take that. And then Cubs St. Louis went over the total almost entirely just from the St. Louis side with an 8-2 win. It was because I believe St. Louis hit 4 home runs in the game. I mean, it's very difficult to predict something like that, man. Just the sheer amount of home runs sailing out of that park. I did mention that Ben Brown, either he gives up a lot of hard contact or he does really, really well, and the wrong one of those two happened in that game yesterday, so very unfortunate. But, I mean, what can you do? I know people are going to probably ask me about these NBA trades, what I think about them, especially because one of them is with the Celtics. I will say for the Houston Rockets one, I don't think it's a good addition. Kevin Durant, I don't think when Phoenix traded for him, it was good. I don't think any team trading for Kevin Durant is a good idea, to be honest. Like, wherever Durant goes, I think he's going to be a net negative to the team. He's old. I don't think he's a great team player. It is what it is. Formerly a very good player, but I don't think he's worth the cost, even though the Rockets didn't really have to give up that much. But that is my thought on that. Celtics traded Drew Holiday. I mean, he's been a very good piece for them, especially defensively. The tandem between Holiday and White, just probably the best defensive guard tandem in the NBA. So it does suck to split that up. Holiday's been good. And, I mean, he's sort of like a jack of all trades, too, because he can do a bunch of other stuff as well. He can pass, shoot, and he's an excellent defender. He is getting up there in age, and the Celtics will have some money freed up to do something with. So I think that is why they did that. I'm kind of neutral on that, to be honest. It's sad to see him go. Hopefully the Celtics can do something with the draft. They did get a couple of second rounders with that. I don't know what they're planning on doing with the draft or other moves they might make over the offseason, so we will see. And let's get into today's show, man. We're going to talk about WNBA first. I'm going to try to keep this short because this WNBA card, I mean, or slate, I should say, this is just awful. Minnesota's at Washington. Minnesota, obviously the way better team. They're up from 8.5 to 9. I mean, this is a mismatch. I don't think there's a whole lot else to say about this. Washington is coming off beating Dallas barely, staying at home, so maybe they are in the slightly better spot, I guess, but they're the way worse team, so don't want to deal with this at all. Minnesota coming off some easy wins lately. They're on a roll right now. I mean, they only have 1 loss, so obviously Minnesota is one of the top teams in the WNBA. The Sparks at Chicago. I mean, this is a more competitive matchup, I guess, because it's between two pretty bad teams, and Chicago's been really bad since they lost Vandersloot, who is their best player, not Angel Reese. I don't even know if I have any thoughts on this at all. I mean, the Sparks have lost 3 games in a row, all by very wide margins. So they're actually stepping down in class because 2 of those losses were against Minnesota. So they should have an easier time against Chicago here. They did beat Chicago earlier in the season, barely, at home, and that was with Vandersloot. So that's why I think the line was 4.5. At LA way back in that game, and now it's 5.5 on the road. That's because of the Vandersloot situation. Chicago, very, very bad team, especially scoring-wise. They've lost 3 in a row as well, so it's kind of like, well, something's got to give here. One of these teams is going to win. It'll probably be LA, but I would not put money on this. Up from 4 to 5.5. I mean, just personally, I don't really see much going on with that. Atlanta at Dallas. Dallas, still one of the worst teams in the league as well. They're kind of starting to come together a little bit as they did win 2 games, but they beat Golden State and Connecticut, who are 2 of the other worst teams in the league, lost to Washington, and now they're coming back home to face a pretty good Atlanta team. I know Brittany Griner has been banged up a little bit, so that's something to kind of keep an eye on here. I don't know if she is going to be playing or whatever. I think she did play in the last game. She's just playing injured. She's not on the injury report, I don't think so. Assuming she will play, excuse me. I think she did play through the injury last time. I mean, Atlanta is the way better team, and they just had 2 easy wins against Washington and Chicago, so there's not a lot to see there either. Atlanta up from 8.5 to 9, whatever. The most interesting game is Indiana at Seattle. This line, I actually disagree with the line movement in this one. Seattle's up from 1 to 3 as a 3-point home favorite, and yes, Seattle's good, but I actually think Indiana might be the right side here. Indiana's coming off 2 straight losses. Golden State lost. I mean, that's pretty bad. And then they did lose to the Vegas Aces, who are kind of down this year, to be honest, man. And that was, I believe, the second game with Asia Wilson back, so maybe she's still kind of working her way back into the fray there for the Aces, although she is their best player. She put up 24 points in that game. Aces were still the home favorite in that game. They were the better team still. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we could take away from that game, really. The fact that Fever lost that game. It's still not an easy game. Now they're going to Seattle. Seattle's coming off beating the New York Liberty after beating the Aces. So I do think the public, if they look at this, they're going to think, well, Seattle just beat the Aces on the road, and Vegas beat Indiana in Vegas. So doesn't that mean, transitive property? Should mean that Seattle should win this game easily, right? Well, that's not the way that it works. That's kind of one indicator to maybe lean to Indiana here, where people are going to look at those two results and compare the two and think that automatically means that Seattle's going to win this game. But every game is an individual situation. And Seattle is, again, coming off beating the Liberty, which is a huge win, beating maybe the best team in the entire league. So they are kind of in a letdown spot here. So I would lean to Indiana plus the points in that game. Caitlin Clark is back. She's back in the mix there and playing pretty well. So there's not a whole lot to see as far as the injury situation in that game is. So that's the closest that I would have to like an actual play in the WNBA. Indiana plus the points would be the best lean for me. I'm not going to play it though, or give it out as a play. As I've been saying, I'm not actually making plays on these games because I'm a pussy, obviously. But no, I want to get some stability back here in life after my cancellation first, and then we'll see where it goes. But I am handicapping all these games like I am playing them. So look at WNBA. We already looked at the WNBA. Major League Baseball. Here we have a full slate of MLB games today after a shorter slate yesterday where unfortunately my 1 and 2 I was not happy about, especially because I was right about Boston and Anaheim going over the total. I was right about Washington, San Diego over the total. I was right about Pittsburgh being a lean there, so I'm not thrilled with how that went because the games that I actually gave out as plays wound up going 1 and 2. Hate when that happens, when the leans do better than the plays. Texas is at Baltimore again. Baltimore won 6-0 yesterday. Texas still has the better bullpen. I actually think the bullpen got a little bit more rested yesterday. The problem is Texas has Jacob Latz listed as the starter. He is going to be like an opener, basically. So I think the Rangers are going to be going with a bullpen game here. And yes, their bullpen is good, but I'm a little bit concerned whenever I see a bullpen game, man. Some teams could do it. I mean, sometimes there is a benefit to it because mixing and matching all these different pitchers could throw the hitters off, and like the hitters don't get time to really settle in and adjust to one pitcher. But it has its drawbacks too, because if you're not constantly throwing out like good pitchers out there, and you could be wasting your bullpen too, so it's not really that great. Latz has a 3.26 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Don't know how deep he's going to go in this game. He did actually pretty much go a starter's workload last time up, 5 2/3 innings against Kansas City and only allowed 1 run, but there is kind of an issue with that stat line, the fact that he struck out 0. So 2 of his last 3 appearances, he has no strikeouts. That's a little bit of an something to raise an alarm there. When a guy's not striking anybody out, that's not a great sign, even though he did okay. It was also against a very weak Kansas City offense. So I'm not going to put much stock into that. Latz, we don't know how long he's going to last in this game. Up against Baltimore, I don't even know if he has any stats against Baltimore. They're 2 for 5, often with 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a home run from Westberg. So very small sample size, but 400 average, 1,571 OPS. He's up against Charlie Morton, who, for Baltimore, shockingly has actually been pitching well recently. He has a 5.64 ERA, 1.6 WHIP on the season. Those numbers are very, very bad. He's been a little bit better at home with a 5.09 ERA, but he's actually pitched well recently. He was horrific to start the season. Looked like, this guy's like 41, 42. He should be out of baseball, basically. But then they sent him to the bullpen, and then since he rejoined the starting rotation, he's actually been good. And Baltimore's actually won 5 straight appearances of his, although granted, they faced some pretty bad offenses in most of those games. Tampa, Anaheim, Athletics, although that was at the A's Stadium, which is a difficult stadium to pitch in, and actually Morton did not do well in that game. And he faced the White Sox in St. Louis. St. Louis a decent offense at least, but 29-6 strikeout walk ratio from Morton and a 2.25 ERA in 4 starts in June does tell you that he is actually pitching well right now. He does have his command right now. And giving up, he's given up more than 1 hit per inning, which isn't good, but well over 1 strikeout per inning. Kind of crazy. It looks like Morton is kind of back into form to some extent. He is facing a pretty bad Texas offense here. They have 74 at-bats against him, 17-3 strikeout walk ratio, a 230 average, and 571 OPS. So I think Morton does have the upper hand here. Texas does have the better bullpen, but they're going with a bullpen game here. So I would lean to Baltimore in this game. Maybe you go first 5 innings if you don't want to deal with Baltimore's pretty bad bullpen. Just cut them out of the equation. You could go Baltimore money line first 5 innings. Baltimore's sitting at minus 130 for the full game price. 81% of the cash on them. 73% of the tickets on Texas. So the money is coming in on Baltimore based on the market read here. I do agree with that. Saab, what's up, man? Break this rigged club World Cup in soccer. I'm not paying attention to any of the soccer stuff, man. It would be too much on my plate. There's just too much soccer going on. It's not really my thing at all. I just can't do it. But good luck to you. There's definitely some money to be made there if you know what you're doing. The A's are at Detroit here. Both of these teams were off yesterday. Detroit is returning home from a very short road trip to Tampa Bay, so I don't think it's really a spot where Detroit's going to be like very unfocused here. When you have a longer road trip, you can be unfocused and distracted when you return home a lot of the time because you do have to get back to family life. But they are facing a team that might not really garner much attention, the A's, who are a pretty bad team. A's are starting a road trip, which is usually a focus spot when you get out of home, forget about what's going on at home, go out on the road. They lost their last 2 games at home, but I think it could break that, it's usually losing momentum when you go out on the road. Severino's pitching for the A's, 4.42 ERA, 1.34 WHIP on the season. Not good numbers, obviously, but he's been way better on the road. His home road splits are more extreme than anything I've ever seen before. He has a .93 ERA on the road compared to 6.79 at home in that bad A's stadium, and he's allowed all 7 of the home runs he's allowed this year at home. Has a 194 opponent batting average on the road compared to 300 at home. So he's been a completely different person on the road. He is coming off a decent home start against Houston with 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, although giving up 9 hits in that game wasn't exactly great, though. I think he kind of got away with putting guys on base in that game. He still has a 6 ERA, 12.8 strikeout walk ratio this month, which is not good, although 3 of the 4 starts were at home. And he did have a nice start against Kansas City on the road, other than the fact that he only struck out 1 in that game, which is not a good sign. Up against Detroit, he does have good numbers. Small 22 at-bat sample size, but 7-2 strikeout walk ratio, 182 average, 750 OPS. So Severino might be in line to actually pitch fairly well here. Problem is, he's going up against Skubal, so it is Skubal Day here, who is the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. 2.06 ERA, .85 WHIP. He's been dominant. Doesn't matter if he's at home or away. Really does not matter. He's coming off a little bit of a shaky start where he walked 3 guys against Pittsburgh and only went 5 2/3. Gets a pretty bad offense, but even so, Skubal, we know who he is. He's a dominant ace pitcher, man. So I don't think he's all of a sudden in bad form or anything like that. He's a guy that's more often than not going to give you a good start, but actually surprisingly, he has bad numbers against the A's hitters. 43 at-bats. He has a good 13-2 strikeout walk ratio, but 395 batting average and 1,027 OPS. So he actually has not done well against the A's hitters, especially Rooker, who was 6 for 14 with 2 home runs off of him. So maybe a player prop option there in Rooker, even though he's up against a great pitcher. Does have good numbers off of him. So it's an interesting matchup here, man. And player props, I always say go hits plus runs plus RBIs, but Detroit is a huge favorite here. They're up from minus 260 to minus 305, 88% of tickets, 99% of the cash. There's no way that you can lay a price like that, though, especially with a total is at 7, because the books know you have Skubal on the mound. It's probably not going to be a very high-scoring game. But given that Skubal's stats are actually bad against the A's, he did have kind of a rough start last time out, and Severino is way better on the road and actually has good numbers against Detroit. There might be some value in grabbing the A's on a run line. You might be able to get them plus 2.5 runs which is pretty advantageous when you have a low total, like 7. All those runs mean more. So A's plus whatever the amount of runs is on the run line actually might make sense in that game. Even though I know it's very difficult to fade Skubal, but it's all about what the price is. Like I don't think Detroit's actually going to lose the game, but I think it might be closer than people think. Toronto at Cleveland. This is a game I'm going to give out a play on, and it is Toronto minus 120 on the money line. Yeah, Toronto is a road favorite here. The line flipped from plus 109 to minus 121, so Toronto does have money coming in on them as far as the money line at least flipped favorites, which is usually a pretty strong indicator. Even though Toronto is public with 84% of the tickets, only 83% of the cash, which does worry me a little bit because I don't love playing these public road favorites like that, but the line movement has not been reversing. It looks like it's kind of continuing to go in the direction of Toronto right now, so those percentages might flip around a little bit, but I just think the spot is bad for Cleveland here. They're returning over a road trip that took them to the Pacific Coast for 3 series, Seattle, San Francisco, A's. So that's not a good spot for Cleveland, man. You return home from a long road trip like that. And yeah, I know you're playing a team with a pretty good record in Toronto, but a return home from a road trip like that, usually you're not very focused when you return home from a road trip like that. So I think it could be an unfocused spot there for Cleveland, whereas Toronto is starting a road trip. And they have less travel, right? Because they're not coming back from the Pacific Coast. They're only going from Toronto to Cleveland, which is a much easier travel position there. Basically, you're just flying across Lake Erie, right? So, do I have that right? I don't even know if I do. Or no, Toronto's on Lake Ontario. What am I saying? Yeah, you're going down from Lake Ontario. I'm a geography guy too, and I can't believe I fucked that up. Yeah, I think Toronto's on Lake Ontario, but they do have to go down south of Lake Erie there. But whatever, it's not a long trip. Toronto coming off losing to the White Sox 2 out of 3 games. So I think Toronto's going to be a little bit pissed. I mean, you lose to a bad team like the White Sox, you're going to want to refocus, man. We might have an issue here a little bit with Eric Lauer being the listed starter for Toronto. He does have good numbers, 2.29 ERA, 0.93 whip. Problem is he's basically an opener, but he has gone at least 4 innings in 3 of his 4 appearances in June, so they are kind of letting him go fairly deep into games. And against Arizona, who's a good hitting team, last time out, he went 5 innings, only allowed 1 run, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits. So he actually had a good outing in that one. So I think Lauer might do okay here. I don't love his ground ball rate at all. He gives up way too many fly balls. But Lauer has been pitching well. We don't know how deep he's going to go into the game, but that might be okay because these teams rested yesterday, and Toronto has the better bullpen out of these two teams. Cleveland's is okay, but I prefer Toronto's bullpen. And we can look at the bullpen ERAs here. I haven't added up recently. Actually, it's not that much of a difference. Toronto's is slightly better than Cleveland's, but I prefer Toronto's bullpen right now. I especially think they've been pitching better recently than Cleveland's bullpen has. So I think the fact that the bullpen's going to have to come into this game for Toronto, I think is okay because they are rested. And Lauer himself against Cleveland, I mean, nothing to really see here. 10 at-bats. They're 3 for 10 off him. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, but really, I'm not as concerned because Lane Thomas has done all the damage. He has all 3 hits and all 3 walks against Lauer, so there's really not a whole lot to see there in that small sample size. He's going up against Logan Allen, who I don't think is a very good pitcher for Cleveland. 4.21 ERA, 1.48 whip. Not good numbers. Very similar splits, home and road, so that doesn't really matter. Hasn't been that great this month either. 12-5 strikeout walk ratio is nothing to really hang your hat on there. I mean, that's not that great. 4.15 ERA. He's been very mediocre, although he's at least gone 5 1/3 in each of those starts. But facing San Francisco, Houston, not terrific offenses. Cincinnati, mediocre. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of Allen here. But against Toronto, he does have bad numbers. In 43 at-bats, 8-7 strikeout walk ratio. 3 home runs allowed, although it's to Schneider and Springer that basically do all the damage. Schneider 3 for 5 with a home run and a double and 2 walks. Springer 3 for 7, 2 home runs, 2 walks. So again, player prop potential with those guys. But overall, he's allowed a 349 average, 1,068 OPS in those 43 at-bats. So Logan Allen has not done well against Toronto. And he also faced Toronto in May. So that means Toronto is recently familiar with him, whereas I'm pretty sure Lauer has not been in a game against Cleveland, at least not recently. So there's more recent familiarity here with the Toronto bats as well. And Allen didn't really do that well in that game. He went 5 2/3, walked 2 guys, gave 6 hits, somehow escaped, only allowing 2 earned runs, so it was not a very good start for him. So Allen, yeah, I'm definitely willing to fade Logan Allen in a spot like that. So I think that is worthy of a play on Toronto. Scott, what's up, man? Yeah, I just don't want to deal with all the schizo insanity that's going on in that chat. I love you too, man. Scott, thanks for hanging out. All right. We got Atlanta at the Mets. Atlanta won yesterday, which was my winner that I gave out on the show yesterday. Atlanta, after a 3-0 lead, I think as early as the second inning, maybe in that game, they almost blew the game, but not a whole lot to really say about that otherwise. But they were able to hang on. I mean, they still, obviously, I handicapped the starting pitching matchup right in that game. Schwellenbach outpitched Blackburn and lasted like twice as deep into the game, so there was nothing to see there, really. And I actually think that Atlanta saved some of their relief pitchers, too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they kind of did. They used 2 relievers. 4 came into the game for the Mets because they had to bring the bullpen in earlier, which doesn't set the Mets up for necessarily a great start here. Strider is pitching for the Braves. He's starting to pitch well again. He's coming back from injury, man, so he hadn't pitched for a while, and he's coming back, and he is returning to form here. He has a 3.89 ERA, 1.14 whip now. Pretty good. He's a little bit worse on the road, though. 4.5 road ERA so far this year. Granted, it is a small sample size, and this month he has a 30-7 strikeout walk ratio, 17 hits allowed in 23 innings, so all of those numbers are good, allowing very few hits, high strikeout rate, not many walks, so he is pitching well, and he did face Arizona, although he didn't do well in that game against Arizona, and the Mets last time out, so there are a couple of things to say about that. So the fact that he did face the Mets, he did really well against them, which is a good sign. However, because the Mets just saw him in his last start, the Mets might actually do better at hitting him this time out. But the Mets have been really struggling right now. The Mets have lost 9 of their last 10 games. Their offense has not been doing well, so the Mets are not in good form right now offensively. But, again, they did just see Strider, so it is a little bit of an advantage to the hitters because they just saw him. And his numbers against the Mets are actually not good in his career, in 98 at-bats, a pretty big sample. 24-13 strikeout walk ratio is definitely too many walks. 306 average, 867 OPS. So Strider actually does not do well against the Mets. So it might make sense to expect him to do a little bit worse. But he's going up against Frankie Montas, who I believe is making his Mets debut. He's been on the injured list since last year. 4.84 ERA, 1.37 whip last year. Those are last year's stats. And that's basically pretty close to what his career stats are. So you pretty much know what you're going to get out of Montas for the most part. I mean, you're going to get mediocre pitching. This is going to be his debut for the Mets, so he might be a little bit pumped up about that. But what are you going to get out of a guy who's a mediocre pitcher anyway, and he's coming back from having a long time off? Even though he's a veteran pitcher, sometimes they're really pumped to get back in. They want to get back into the game right away, and they might do well. But other times they really struggle because they're not used to pitching in that major league game again. Of course, if they're going to pitch in a major league game, you know they must have had like rehab starts and stuff. And I actually didn't look because I didn't want to play this game. I didn't look to see what Montas did in his, I assume he pitched in AAA a little bit in some rehab starts, so you could go look and see how he did in those starts, and that might be a little bit of an indicator of what he's going to do here, but I don't trust Montas in this game, man. I don't know what his stats are against who are he up against here? Against the Braves here, let me see. What? Oh, come on, man. Oh, yeah. All right. I apologize. All right. Against the Braves, actually in 29 at-bats, he does not have good numbers. 414 average, 1,072 OPS. Really not good. So I actually could see an over happening in this game, man. Both offenses can do some damage, although granted the Mets are not playing well offensively right now, but I think the over might be the way to look here. 53% of tickets on the under, 73% of the cash on the over, so the cash percentage is on the over. Total drop from 9 to 9 with juice on the under, so you get a little bit of a better number there. The number is 9 for a reason, man, as the books are kind of expecting a high-scoring game. That is what they're telling you. But again, you have to worry about the Mets not being in good offensive form right now. Probably still lean to Atlanta as well. I mean, it's another game, just like I mentioned yesterday, where it's a misleading line here. Where, like, how is Atlanta a favorite on the road against a team that has a better record, right? But, of course, it's because Strider is the better pitcher, and the Mets have not been playing well recently, so that is definitely factoring into the line. The line may be a little bit too high, just given what I said about Strider a little while ago, although he is still the better pitcher. We got 60% of tickets and only 52% of the cash on the Mets. And when you have a home underdog that's public like that, that is usually not the way that you want to look there. So those would be my leans in that game, but I'm not going to give out a play on that. I am going to give out a play in the next game, the Cincinnati Reds plus a half run in the first 5 innings. And I would maybe throw a little bit of that bet on the money line as well. In the first 5, I want to take the bullpens out because, of course, Cincinnati does have the worst of the 2 bullpens. They used a little bit of it yesterday as well. So I don't want to deal with their bullpen. Yankees' bullpen has been kind of mediocre, but 3.48 pen ERA is not that bad. Cincinnati's is above 4.03. So they're kind of in the bad bullpen territory to some extent. So I will avoid the bullpens here and go with the starting pitching only. And also, I think the Yankees are going to be a little bit pissed because they lost yesterday. The Yankees have not been playing particularly well recently. That was a good game for Cincinnati yesterday. Of course, I mean, the Yankees started Winans, which I think you kind of knew that wasn't going to go that well. I mentioned that I liked the over in this game, and both starting pitchers didn't really do that well, but Lodolo kind of escaped, only allowing 1 run, which helped the Reds win that game. So I got the Reds pitching part of the game wrong yesterday, and the game did not go over. But the Reds did use a lot of their bullpen, so the bullpen's a little bit used up, so we don't want to factor in the Reds bullpen in this game. Carlos Rodon is starting for the Yankees. He's been good. 3.1 ERA, .98 whip. He's been better on the road a little bit too, 2.93 ERA, but I think you might be able to fade him here. He has a 4.7 ERA in the month of June, so he hasn't been as good. And the Yankees have only got 2-2 in his starts, although granted, both of the losses were against the Red Sox. The Red Sox know how to hit him, and the Red Sox did pretty well against him both times. His other 2 starts were good against Cleveland and Anaheim, but it's kind of where the rubber meets the road here. Like, what are we going to expect from him in this game? A 24-7 strikeout walk ratio this month is good and does tell you that he's kind of in good form, especially in the 2 starts that were not against the Red Sox. 15-2 strikeout walk ratio, but what is he going to do against Cincinnati? Well, his numbers are not good against Cincinnati. I know it's a small 29 at-bat sample size, but he struggled against them in that sample size. 5 walks, only 2 strikeouts, 310 average, allowed 860 OPS. So I think Rodon could potentially not do particularly well in this game. So that's why I'm going to take the shot here. I think you're getting a little bit of value fading the Yankees here. As the Yankees, you know the Yankees, you're always going to be paying a price for the Yankees. When you have a good starter for them on the mound in Rodon, you're going to be paying even a little bit more of a tax for the Yankees. And he's up against a guy that nobody knows who he is. Chase Burns is making his major league debut for Cincinnati. He is a 22-year-old. Did I do that math right? Chase Burns, this guy, he's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, man. So just like I've been talking about with Milwaukee's Misiorowski, I think Burns is sort of along the same lines as that guy, where both these guys throw like upwards of 100 miles an hour on the fastball. So Burns is a power pitcher. He is a gas thrower, man. He is good. He was the number 2 draft pick, I believe, in the entire Major League Baseball draft last year. So he's a very highly touted prospect, and he has not been a letdown in the minors. He's had a really quick call-up to the majors here, too. I think Cincinnati does have some injuries. I think Hunter Green might be injured again, unfortunately, because Green, pitcher that I like quite a bit. I can make some money on that guy. He's good. But Burns, he's only pitched in AAA. I think that's all the stats that we have to look at for Burns are this year. I think they're all in AAA, and I believe his ERA is in the 1s. He has a below 1 whip, and he has an 89-13 strikeout walk ratio on like 60 innings or so in AAA. So he is blowing people away at AAA right now with a ridiculously high strikeout rate. He's not even walking that many guys, and not only does he throw 100 miles an hour on his fastball regularly, although he also does, throw a lot in the high 90s. His second pitch, which is a slider, is considered to be one of the best sliders out of all pitching prospects. He has a nasty break on the slider that is really, really good. Although he is only basically a 3-pitch pitcher, he also throws a changeup into the mix. He mostly throws those first 2 pitches, which isn't really a great starting pitcher profile necessarily, but if those top 2 pitchers are that good, you can definitely get guys out in the major league level. So I'm going to take the shot with the Reds in this game, plus the half a run. So if it's tied after the first 5 innings, that bet will win. Again, I think the public is going to be coming in on the Yankees because who the hell is Burns? Yankees are up from -152 to -153. They have 87% of tickets, 94% of the cash. What that does tell me is that the Yankees are public, although the cash percentage is on them as well a little bit. But I think you could definitely take a shot fading them in the spot. The total is high, so the runs might mean a little bit less because the total is high, but it is down from 9.5 to 9.5 with juice on the under. 69% of tickets on the over, 73% of cash on the under. I do also agree with the under because I don't necessarily think Rodon is going to be that bad here. I just think that given the specific matchup, the fact that he doesn't do well against Cincinnati, there is some value to be had there with Cincinnati, but he might pitch well enough, and the under might make sense as well. But if I was going to do the under, I would go under first 5 innings, probably under 4.5 or whatever the number is going to be there, instead of going the full game because, again, I don't really want Cincinnati's bullpen at all. Arizona at Chicago White Sox. Arizona won the game 10-0 yesterday, so Chicago might be a little bit pissed off about that. Problem is, Chicago's starting Jordan Leisure here, who is going to be a relief pitcher. He's a relief pitcher pretty much. He's going to be making an opener here. His numbers aren't even good. 4.23 ERA, 1.52 whip. As you can see here, he hasn't gone more than like 1 2/3 in any appearance this entire season. So he is only going to come in and open the game, and then the White Sox are going to turn it over to the bullpen, which is not a good sign because the White Sox bullpen is not good. So I don't think you want any part of a White Sox bullpen game, especially against an Arizona team that can hit really well. Ryan Nelson is pitching for Arizona, and I am on record not being a fan of Ryan Nelson, although his numbers are good this year. 3.88 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's actually been way worse on the road, which kind of surprises me because he pitches in Chase Field, which is a hitter-friendly park, but he has a 2.25 ERA there at home, and now he's on the road where he has a 6.08 ERA in all of his road appearances this year. Hasn't been good this month either in 3 starts, 5.27 ERA, 10-7 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good either, so he's not pitching well right now. Even though he gave up 0 and 1 earned run in the last 2 outings. That last outing, 2 walks, went 5 2/3. It's not that impressive. Last 4 outings, he's only gone 5 2/3 or fewer innings in all of them. So I don't really trust Ryan Nelson. His numbers are okay against the White Sox. Small 17 at-bat sample size. 5-4 strikeout walk ratio is not great, but a 235 batting average allowed is good. 734 OPS. Still not that bad. But I just don't love Ryan Nelson, man. So I'm kind of thinking over makes sense in this game, but the total is down it's gone way down from 9 juice to the over to 8.5. 67% of tickets on the over, 91% of the cash on the under. I don't really see it, man. I mean, I think you're really up against it with a White Sox bullpen game, and Ryan Nelson could struggle even though he's facing a bad offense here. So I don't really see it, and I don't really see the market read on the money line either. Here's some significant money. Looks like it's coming in on the White Sox in this game. Arizona down from -155 to -120. 73% of tickets, only 60% of the cash on Arizona. So Arizona obviously going to be the public side here. I just don't really see an angle for the White Sox in this game, to be honest, man, other than maybe Arizona. You just think that there's value playing against them because that line is maybe too high with Ryan Nelson on the mound, but we know Arizona has the way better hitting. Their bullpen does also stink, though, which is another reason why I would say the over, I think, makes sense in this game because you're looking at 2 bad bullpens here. So I don't really get it, but that's the way that the market is looking there. Next up, I'm going to do what I somewhat say you shouldn't do, although I have done this on the show repeatedly, obviously, and that is play a run line on a home team, which is a little bit of an issue because you need that team to win by 1.5 runs, and if they're winning already, they don't get the final at-bat in the 9th inning, so you lose an inning of at-bats, potentially. But this is Milwaukee. Their hitting is good, although I know Milwaukee is better at hitting on the road. But I think this is a spot where Milwaukee has a lot of advantages. I think they have a huge starting pitching edge in this game, and I think the spot lines up very nicely for Milwaukee. So Milwaukee -1.5 on the run line, which you can get at +105 right now, is my recommendation in this game. It's basically like playing a spread bet. I leaned to Pittsburgh yesterday on the show. Milwaukee was returning home from a road trip, remember? So Milwaukee was in a bad spot. I mean, they'd played the Cubs, which is a huge series. They'd won 4 games in a row with a bunch of offensive outbursts, sweeping the Twins with some huge run totals. So I was saying they're going to be in a letdown spot. And returning home, they could be a bit distracted, and that is what happened. But when that does happen and you have the better team here like Milwaukee, they return home, they get caught in that distracted spot, they don't do well. What that does a lot of times is it sparks the team again and they refocus now that they're back at home. The stuff that they have to do with family life, which is why the distractions come into play, all that stuff they had to do returning home, get it out of the way, focus on baseball again. So I think it's a much better spot to take that team in that second game back home after they lose the first game. That's what we're looking at here. And of course, Milwaukee is the better team. But of course, you're laying a price. You need them to win by margin here. But I think it can happen. First of all, Pittsburgh used a lot of their bullpen yesterday. They used some of their best relievers. They used 4 relief pitchers, and they used their closer, Bednar. They used some of their high-leverage relief pitchers, whereas the Brewers did not. Patrick outlasted Ashcraft in the game, which was expected. Ashcraft kind of an opener guy. So Brewers only used 2 relief pitchers. Ashby pretty much saved the rest of the bullpen, going 3 innings yesterday. So Milwaukee, I'm okay with doing this full game. Well, you need the full game for Milwaukee to obviously win by margin here. So that's one reason to go full game here. But also, Milwaukee, even though their bullpen stinks, Pittsburgh's bullpen also stinks, and Milwaukee's is the better rested bullpen right now. And they have some of their high leverage arms still available. You can see both bullpens have ERAs in the fours here, which is not good, but I think Milwaukee's bullpen is in the better position in this game. It's a better situational spot, and we're looking at Andrew Heaney pitching for Pittsburgh. Good numbers on the season, 3.94 ERA, 1.19 whip. That's all good, but he's been significantly worse on the road, 4.85 road ERA, so he has not been good on the road. I don't think he's exactly in good form here. 5.4 ERA this month. He mostly got wrecked in his last time out. And granted, yes, he faced some pretty good hitting teams here in San Diego, Philadelphia, Cubs, Detroit. 3 of those games on the road, and Arizona prior to that on the road. So, yeah, those are not easy teams to face, but he's not pitching that well, and he had more walks and strikeouts in his game at Detroit. 3 walks to 2 strikeouts, allowed 8 hits, 7 earned runs, not even on any home runs in 4 innings. I know Detroit plays well at home, but that's not a good sign for Heaney. I don't think he's in a very good position right now. Pittsburgh, of course, we know Pittsburgh is an awful team, but they've lost a bunch of Heaney's starts going all the way back to April 29th. They've lost 8 of his last 10 starts, so that's not a good sign either. And up against Milwaukee, he does not do well in 36 at-bats, 361 average, allowed him 1,021 OPS. So Milwaukee has done some damage to him, Milwaukee's hitters have. And he's up against Freddie Peralta, who is still Milwaukee's best pitcher. He is still their ace, even though Mizurowski looks like he's going to be good. Freddie Peralta, he's an established pitcher. We know who he is. He's having a good season, 2.76 ERA, 1.11 whip. He's good. He's even better at home with a 1.32 home ERA. So he's in a good split here. This month, he has a 2.74 ERA and 24-8 strikeout walk ratio. Granted, yes, I know Peralta does have some issues with walks, but he racks up a good amount of strikeouts, so he throws hard. So this is just typical Peralta, and he faced some decent offenses in here too, really. Cincinnati, San Diego, St. Louis, Chicago Cubs, 2 of those games on the road. He hasn't allowed more than he's only allowed more than 3 earned runs once all season, and it was in a road start against Cleveland that was kind of an inexplicably bad start, but he's been very consistent throughout the season. And against Pittsburgh, they have a weak offense. His numbers aren't as good as you would think, but they're not bad. They're familiar with him. A huge 122 at-bat sample size, 36-15 strikeout walk ratio is not that great. That is too many walks, and 5 home runs allowed is too many home runs, but he has held him to a 254 average, a somewhat high 770 OPS, but that's not too terrible. And you know that I think Freddie Peralta he's in the better splits. He has the better matchup here. He's the better pitcher over Heaney. The bullpen situation is better for Milwaukee, and the overall scheduling spot is better for Milwaukee. So Milwaukee run line is the play there. Seattle is at Minnesota. Minnesota is continuing to just do really, really poorly right now. They're playing bad baseball, man. They've lost 10 of their last 11 games, I think is what that is. Just playing very bad baseball. They lost again yesterday, 11-2. So it's like something's got to give here, man. Minnesota, I don't think they're as bad as they look here. Bailey Ober went 7 innings, but he gave up 7 runs in that game. I think he gave up like 3 or 4 home runs. It's just crazy, man. There's something wrong with Ober right now. And I think he had 7 strikeouts or something too. So the rest of his numbers looked pretty good, but it was just like, it's just crazy. You'd give up that many home runs. looking at the bullpen situation after that game yesterday, Ober actually, because he went deep, he saved the bullpen there. Neither team used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, though, because Wu had a good start for the Mariners yesterday. So both starters went deep. So both bullpens are in decent shape coming into this one. Milwaukee's bullpen, or excuse me, Minnesota's, I think, has kind of faded a bit throughout the season. Yeah, they're actually really not very good right now at 4.44. That's for an ERA. That's not good. So Seattle does have the better bullpen fairly significantly, 3.65 ERA. Seattle has Luis Castillo pitching, 3.38 ERA, 1.24 whip. Pretty much what you expect out of Castillo. He's a pretty consistent pitcher for the most part. Does have a little bit of a worse road ERA, 4.59 ERA on the road with a 297 opponent batting average. So he has been worse on the road. This month, 3.52 ERA in 4 starts, 22-7 strikeout walk ratio, allowing 4 or fewer runs in every start and going at least 5 innings in all of them. And he's gone at least 5 innings going all the way back to mid-April, basically. So he's been pretty consistent since then, so he's not pitching too poorly here. He did just face Minnesota, so both offenses actually have some recent familiarity here, and he shut them out for 6 innings in Seattle, which, of course, Seattle is a pitching park. So I guess you might expect him to do a little bit worse here because Minnesota did just see him, so they might be a little bit more familiar with him right now. But against Minnesota, he does have good numbers in his career, and 95 at-bats, a huge sample size. He's actually kind of dominated them. 30-6 strikeout walk ratio, very good ratio. 221 average, 552 OPS. Castillo has really good numbers against Minnesota. I just worry a little bit because Minnesota did just see him, but Chris Paddock is pitching for Minnesota, and Seattle just saw him in that same series, and he had his best start of the season. Probably his best start of his career. They let him go 110 pitches, 8 innings, 1 run allowed, struck out 10, only allowed 4 hits and a walk. So he dominated Seattle, but that was in Seattle. Now Seattle is recently familiar with him, so Paddock might do worse, man. He's been bad in his last 2 starts, going 4 and 5 innings, allowing 8 and 4 earned runs in those starts, only with a 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. So Paddock, after that good start, really, really good start, is kind of fallen apart a little bit. And he was doing consistently for the most part this season. Had a really bad start to open the season, and then he hadn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start, all the way up to his last 2 starts where he allowed more than that in both, which is not a great sign. He is better at home, though, 3.03 home ERA, so that's where he is here. He's been better at home, but Seattle just saw him. His numbers are good against Seattle, though, in 51 at-bats, 17-4 strikeout walk ratio, 216 average, and 684 OPS. So there's a lot going on in this game where I can see some reasons to lean over in this game because I think you can kind of expect both pitchers will do a little bit worse this time out against offenses that just saw them. 77% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the over. Or wait, no, I'm looking at A's, Detroit. What am I looking at? Sorry, I want to look at this one. No, the money's actually come in on the under in this game. Seattle, Minnesota, down from 8.5 to 8.5, juice to the under. I don't love that. 52% of tickets on the over, 91% of the cash on the under. So some strong indicators on the under. But I don't really love that because, again, I think both starting pitchers could do a little bit worse here in a less pitcher-friendly park, having both just seen these offenses recently. I have a little bit of an issue with the under in that one, although, yes, both pitchers do appear to match up pretty well against these opposing offenses. Money line, though, Minnesota's down from -109 to -106. They have 60% of tickets, so the public is still on Minnesota, which makes no sense to me. 79% of the cash, though, coming in on Seattle. You know what? I think I want to make a late addition here and add a play on Seattle here. I mean, I think everything kind of lines up for Seattle here, man. I mean, Minnesota's just playing very bad baseball. Granted, they'll probably be pissed and want to bounce back, but Seattle has the better bullpen. Castillo has I think, a matchup edge here. I'm thinking about it. Paddock is the less established of the 2 pitchers here, but he does have good matchup numbers, but Castillo really does dominate. I'll leave it off, but it's close, man. I do like Seattle, so if I was going to add another play, I would add Seattle on the money line there. Nate, what's up, man? Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, dude. Owen, I've mentioned it. Yeah, I've been following Owen for like a long time. Like I first saw his comedy probably late 2000s, maybe 08, 09, somewhere in that range. And I was like, oh, this guy's funny. Like I like that he incorporated music and piano because I'm a musician as well. So comedy with music, and he's actually really funny. So I was like, oh, I like this guy. he's good. And little did I know he was going to become a super canceled comedian, that I was going to become canceled, and that I was going to share the stage with him at some point. That is insane, dude. Yeah, I mean, thanks to the guys who put on Bro Grove, Top Lobster, Raven, Tyler for doing the show running. I mean, thanks to everybody involved in that, man, and all the talent that came out and joined that show. Owen, Sam Tripoli, Jake Shields, Elijah Schaefer, Shane Cashman. I mean, all those guys. It was crazy, dude. So thanks to everybody for that. Thanks to Owen for, allowing me to duet with him. It was a fun time, man. It was crazy. I loved it. Thanks to everybody that showed up, obviously, too, because we wouldn't be able to do anything without everybody that shows up. So I loved it. It was definitely a fun time, man. Let's try to get through the rest of these. We still have a lot of games left, man. This is getting a little bit insane here. We have Tampa at Kansas City. Kansas City is returning home from a road trip from they went to Texas and San Diego, so now they're returning home from the Pacific Coast, which is not an easy spot to be in. Again, returning home from a road trip, you have distractions coming into play. Returning home, have to return to home life. Tampa is starting a road trip, so they are in the better situational spot, better focus spot after they were at home. They get to go out on the road after losing a little bit to Detroit there, or losing a game to Detroit, I should say, by a bad score of 9-3. But Tampa going out on the road should be focused. Zach, what's up, man? Good timing on that one, man. You get to shout out your Royals while I'm talking about them. I actually don't love the Royals in this spot, though, so I am sorry about that. But I don't really like Taj Bradley either, so this is not going to be a game that I'm going to recommend to play on. I do think the situation lines up for Tampa. Now, we are looking at two offenses that aren't that good. We are looking at two bullpens that are pretty good here, so that's all kind of a wash, and it kind of leads you to believe it might be a lower-scoring game. Taj Bradley for Tampa not having a great season, 4.95 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road, 4.02 ERA on the road. Pitching in Steinbrenner Field is a little bit difficult. It's kind of a hitter-friendly park, but he is not in good form with a 7.16 ERA in the month of June, and he has not gone more than 4 innings in his last 3 starts, giving up 13 earned runs in 9 1/3. He got absolutely drilled last time out, going 1 1/3, giving up 6 earned runs against Baltimore. That's not good. 2 starts prior to that, he gave up 7 earned runs against Miami. So really pretty bad because those are not good offenses. So he is not in good form right now. It's not a good sign. 19-9 strikeout walk ratio. The strikeout rate is good, but the walk rate way too high. So not a fan of what Bradley has been doing here, but he does have good numbers against this weak Kansas City offense. He's actually been quite good against them in 34 at-bats. 147 batting average allowed, 393 OPS, only 1 extra base hit, a double from Perez. So Taj Bradley actually has done specifically well against Kansas City. He's up against Wnba for Kansas City, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, surprisingly. 2.12 ERA, 1.12 whip, pitching really well. He's been basically really good both home and away. It doesn't really matter. This month, though, he's been sliding a little bit with a 4.86 ERA, 18-7 strikeout walk ratio, so he's not in terrific form either, although his bad start really was against the Yankees, so you can kind of give him a pass for that because the Yankees do hit well, obviously. At least they have the ability to. Wnba against Tampa Bay actually hasn't been that good either. It's a small 18 at-bat sample size, but Yandy Diaz is 4 for 5 with 2 doubles, a home run, and a walk off him. So if you want some player props there, Diaz has wrecked Wnba historically. He's only got a 2.2 strikeout walk ratio career against Tampa Bay. 333 average allowed, 1,067 OPS. So Wnba actually has the worst matchup numbers. And the situation, I think, is better for Tampa Bay. So I actually lean to Tampa Bay in this game. Although Bradley has been in terrible form, so I do worry about that. Total sitting at minus 128, 71% of tickets, only 70% of the cash on Kansas City as the home favorite there. So if I was going to play this game, I'd probably take a shot. Tampa Bay, money line, underdog price there. Totals dropped from 9 to 8.5, basically. 62% of tickets, only 57% of the cash. So money is coming in on the under. I mean, I can see reasons for that because the bullpens are good. The hitting is not great on either side. Bradley has good matchup numbers, and Wnba has been good in general this season. So I do see some arguments there for the under, but it's a game where there are conflicting factors, so I don't really want to do anything with that. Xerox, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Next up, will be my final play I'm going to give out on the show, which is the St. Louis Cardinals underdog, plus 100. Now, I know St. Louis's bullpen isn't that good. They're middle of the pack, but at least their ERA's sub 4. It's at 3.91, which isn't that bad. They're up against the Cubs, so I know I have a good bullpen at 3.5, but the Cubs bullpen has been kind of iffy, including recently, so I think that we could still factor the bullpens in here. I'm a little bit worried, yes, that St. Louis did win yesterday, but St. Louis is hot right now, man. They've won 6 of their last 7, so we are at least playing on a hot team here, and their offense has been doing pretty decently over that span. So that's a decent sign. Yes, I know they're facing the Cubs, who are a really good team, but I think St. Louis has more reason to show up for these games a little bit, even though I know Chicago probably going to want to bounce back from losing 8-2 yesterday and probably will take this game a bit more seriously, and they know St. Louis is only 3.5 back right now. And yes, in general, I think St. Louis is not as good as their record looks, but a lot of this is about the matchup, and I like St. Louis with the starting pitching matchup here. Neither bullpen really got used yesterday, and like I said, Ben Brown, I don't know if I would even say he pitched that badly yesterday. He just got lit up for a bunch of home runs. It's very unfortunate because the pitching wasn't actually that bad in the game. The total only went over by 1 run pretty much. So that sucked for the under that I gave out on the show. Both bullpens got pretty much saved in the game. There wasn't a whole lot of bullpen usage yesterday, so I think the bullpen situation fine for a full game. We're looking at Jameson Taillon pitching for the Cubs. He's been good this season, 3.84 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, but he has been a little bit more hittable on the road, 4.31 ERA on the road. He's struggled to keep the ball in the yard, too. He's allowed 18 home runs, which is not a good sign. He's allowed maybe the most home runs in baseball. I don't know. I would have to go look. That's a lot of home runs that he's allowed. Not as good on the road, and he's coming off a bad start against Milwaukee. Granted, yes, Milwaukee does hit well, but I think he had decent numbers against Milwaukee historically, and he still didn't do that well. So even though he pitched pretty well in the previous multiple games, 5 games in a row, actually, the Cubs won games that he started, but they were against Miami, at home against Colorado, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and then on the road against Detroit. I mean, that's pretty impressive against Detroit, but other than that, he was not facing very good offenses, and St. Louis is actually not that bad of an offense. And speaking of which, Taillon does not have good numbers against St. Louis, and they're very familiar with him. In 128 at-bats, 23-5 strikeout walk ratio is good, but he's allowed too many home runs, 5 home runs. Burleson is 6 for 15 with 2 home runs, by the way, so if you want to look for player props there, those are good numbers. And Arenado's 11 for 25 with a double and a walk. 312 average overall for St. Louis against Taillon, and 823 OPS. So Taillon has not been good against St. Louis, and he's up against Michael McGreevy, who is a second-year player here who only made 3 starts last year, and his career numbers are actually basically right in line with what he's done this year so far. In 3 appearances, 2 starts, he has a 2.7 ERA, 0.84 whips. He's been pitching pretty well this season with a 15-2 strikeout walk ratio. That's a good sign. He's allowed 1 or fewer earned runs in 2 starts. 1 against the Mets. So that's a good sign, too. He faced the Mets and the Dodgers, and he actually pitched pretty well in those games, so that's a good sign as well. That he's facing some good offenses there, even though he did face the White Sox, who are not good. McGreevy looks like he can pitch at the major league level, man. I'm pretty sure he's up against a Cubs offense, even though, yes, he is having to step up in class again a little bit to face the Cubs, but only Kelly has ever faced him before. Kelly's 1 for 3 off him, but there's not a whole lot to take away from that. So basically, we're looking at McGreevy has not been seen before, basically, by the Cubs offense. So even though the Cubs do have the better offense, I think looking to St. Louis at an underdog price at home here is the right way to look in this game. The public is going to want to be on Chicago, on the Cubs here, because they love that offense. The Cubs have been good this year, but I think this is a spot to fade them. Cubs are public, 78% of tickets and cash, or 79% of tickets now. There's some reverse line movement, dropping them from -110 to -106. A lot of times I will like to fade a public road team, even though I am on one public road team with Toronto today. But I'm going to fade the Cubs in this one. I like St. Louis. I'm going to go back to the well and jump on McGreevy again, even though I think the last time I did that, it wound up not being a win. But I like it. We'll go with McGreevy, who I think is being undervalued here, man. So I like that. We'll go with him. Plus his name, as I always mention, is in Tessie, the Red Sox song there. So we'll go with McGreevy there at the plus money there. St. Louis. Philadelphia at Houston. Houston's returning home from a road trip to the Pacific Coast. They went to the A's and Anaheim, so they're coming home from the Pacific Coast. Both teams have a day off. Tampa and Kansas City, by the way, also day off. So, again, the under might make sense for that reason in spots like that where both teams have a day off. Means the bullpens are rested. Houston's got a good bullpen. Philadelphia does not have a good bullpen, but both teams are rested. Philadelphia is starting a road trip, but they are coming off a Sunday night win against the Mets, which is a huge win. So, Philadelphia coming off beating the Mets, that's a big divisional series. So Philadelphia could be in a little bit of a letdown, even though usually I would say starting a road trip is a focus spot, but maybe not so much when you're coming off a big game against the Mets. So they might be in a little bit of a letdown spot here. Two pitchers with similar names pitching here. Roger Suarez is pitching for Philadelphia. He's having a good season, 2.2 ERA. 1.06 whip. Last year I called that he was going to regress a little bit because his career stats just did not indicate that he was going to be as good as he was doing last year, but he still wound up with a pretty good season, so I was somewhat right, but not entirely. He's been really good on the road, .98 ERA on the road this year, 186 opponent batting average on the road. He's been pitching well, 21-4 strikeout walk ratio, 1.33 ERA in 4 starts this month. Going at least 6 innings in all of them, 7 innings in 3 straight. Pitching against some bad teams, though, in a lot of cases. The best offenses he's faced so far, Arizona and Milwaukee, and Arizona lit him up. But that was his first start coming back from the injured list, so I think you can give him a pass for that. And other than that, he's been really good. He allowed 3 runs to Pittsburgh once, and other than that, he's allowed 1 or fewer in all the other starts, so he has been pitching well. Up against Houston, though, he doesn't have good numbers. In 39 at-bats, he has 6 walks to 5 strikeouts. Granted, Walker, the very appropriately named Walker, has done basically all that damage to him. 5 for 18 with 5 walks. A couple doubles, a triple, and a couple RBIs. So other than Walker, most of these guys don't do well against him, although there's some player prop potential there. 308 average allowed, though, 913 OPS. And we do see, like Altuve has done decent against him still, 2 for 5. So Suarez, maybe not the greatest matchup for him. He's up against Framber Valdez, who's having a good season for Houston, 3.09 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's been better at home with a 2.35 home ERA. Pitching well this month with a 3 ERA in 3 starts, 26-9 strikeout walk ratio. And Houston, by the way, has won 8 starts in a row behind Valdez, although he's faced some weak offenses in there. Struggled a little bit at the A's stadium, although you might give him a pass for that because that's a tough stadium to pitch in, but he did walk 5 guys. So his strikeout rate is really high recently, but his walk rate is also too high. But that is kind of what you get out of Valdez. He gets a lot of strikeouts and he walks a lot of guys. Against Philadelphia, he has been good in 79 at-bats, 25-5 strikeout walk ratio, 203 average, and 566 OPS. So the matchup actually appears to favor Valdez. Plus, you have Houston having the better bullpen. So even though Houston is returning home from a road trip, I actually probably lean to Houston in this game. They're up from -120 to -149, so significant money line movement on Houston. The market percentages are hard to read. 51% of the tickets on Houston, but 52% of the cash on Philly. I don't know if I quite buy that. And we do have a low total at 7.5, expecting, we have 2 good starting pitchers here, essentially, but maybe that number is a little bit too low, especially given that Philadelphia's bullpen isn't good, and Suarez doesn't have good matchup numbers. 51% of tickets are on the over, 87% of cash on the over, so the cash percentage is actually pretty heavily on the over. Maybe some bettors having the same thought that I do here. I would probably go with the matchup, though, and lean to Houston in that game. And it also almost looks too easy to take Philly, who has a really good record, right? It almost looks too easy to take them at a fairly substantial underdog price like this. So looks almost too easy to do it, and especially Philly does have the better offense. That's the one big advantage they have, is their offense is better. But that is what the public also likes. They like offense. Astros have been really good at home, 27-13 at home. Philly's only 21-17 on the road. So the Astros have been pretty good at home as well. Dodgers are at Colorado. Neither team played yesterday. Colorado staying at home. Dodgers are all obviously traveling into Colorado. They're starting a road trip with decent momentum. I mean, they won a bunch of games recently. 7 of their last 9. The Dodgers are winners of 7 of their last 9 going on the road. Problem is, hard to handicap this. Dodgers are a huge favorite, but we don't even know who's starting for the Dodgers, so undecided. It looks like they're going to be going with a bullpen game here for the Dodgers. Let's see if it's listed now. Nope, still undecided. So, and the total is up to 12, which is insane. I mean, obviously, Coors Field, very hitter-friendly park, but a 12, I mean, that's crazy, especially with both bullpens being rested. But Colorado's bullpen is really bad, and the Dodgers' bullpen has actually been pretty bad as well. 4.26 ERA, that's not good. 4.63 for Colorado, so an over might make sense. And we know German Marquez is pitching for Colorado. He's not good. A 6.11 ERA, 1.64 whip, terrible whip. He is actually better at home, though, in Coors Field, believe it or not. 4.91 ERA, so he does know how to pitch at Coors Field. So for whatever reason, he does pitch better at Coors Field. Has actually been okay this month, going at least 5 innings in every start. 3.48 ERA, 18-5 strikeout walk ratio, but he's allowed way too many hits still. 29 hits, but overall that's better than you would kind of expect out of Marquez, and he actually doesn't have terrible numbers against the Dodgers. In 150 at-bats, has allowed 11 home runs, which is a little bit too many. 4 of them to Muncy, although Muncy is only 7 for 32 off him. But 233 average, allowed 765 OPS. So Marquez overall actually not that bad against the Dodgers. Nope, none of their hitters really have like numbers that just absolutely wreck him. I mean, Betts, if you want to look for a player prop, maybe 7 for 23, a home run and 3 walks. I mean, that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, obviously this game is a complete stay away, and obviously I don't think you can lay a price like that with the Dodgers on the road either. I mean, you're paying a price for the Dodgers more often than not, and you're paying a price to fade Colorado more often than not. So we'll stay away. Boston at Anaheim. Of course, Anaheim won the game yesterday. Walker Buehler lived up to his name. He was definitely a walker. He was terrible yesterday, dude. He had 7 walks and hit 2 batters and only made it like maybe into the 3rd inning, I think. Absolutely abysmal. Oh, no, he actually went 4. My apologies. Terrible, terrible start for Buehler, though. But I mentioned I like the over in this game. The over definitely hit yesterday. The Angels' bullpen is not good. They used a lot of their bullpen yesterday for whatever reason. They used 6 relief pitchers to the Red Sox 3. So the Red Sox do have a bullpen edge coming into this game. Anaheim, horrific bullpen-wise. 5.25 ERA in the season. 3rd worst in baseball. Very bad bullpen. Red Sox are middle of the pack somewhere, I think. Where are they at? 3.43, actually. Not that bad. Red Sox actually kind of in the upper 3rd bullpen ERA-wise now, which is kind of surprising to me. Red Sox probably going to be a little bit pissed after that loss as well. And they got their ace on the mound, Garrett Crochet, 2.2 ERA, 1.03 whip. Crochet, I mean, he's really good both home and away. It doesn't really matter. He's in good form this month with a 2.63 ERA, 36-4 strikeout walk ratio, well over 1 strikeout per inning, well below 1 hit per inning. Red Sox have won 4 straight starts behind him, including 2 against the Yankees, so he is pitching well right now. Even in the start where he gave up 5 runs against the Yankees, he still had a 9-1 strikeout walk ratio, and the Red Sox still won the game. So Crochet is pitching really well, which is expected. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Anaheim only has 3 at-bats against him. They're 0 for 3 with a strikeout, and no batters have reached base off him. So I think Red Sox have an advantage with the pitching here, pretty significantly so. They have the better starter, and they have the better and more rested bullpen in this game. So it does look like it should be a play on the Red Sox, right? And Crochet is pretty unfamiliar to the Anaheim hitters, so that's another advantage. Tyler Anderson is pitching for the Angels, and he's a guy that I said was going to regress, and he has started to do so. 4.56 ERA, 1.4 whip. He's not doing well, but he is good at home, though. Significant home road splits with a 2.75 home ERA compared to 6.26 on the road, 292 opponent batting average on the road, 217 at home. So Anderson has actually been way better at home, but he's not pitching well right now. 8.1 ERA, 19 strikeouts in the last 20 innings is pretty good. All of this in the month of June, by the way, in 4 starts, but 7 walks and 32 hits allowed in those 4 outings, including one against the Red Sox where he did not do well in Fenway Park. Didn't even go 5 innings in the game, gave up 5 runs, 2 walks, 7 hits, 5 strikeouts. Was not a good start. So I don't love Anderson here, but Well, I don't know, man. I mean, his numbers aren't that good against the Red Sox either. In 53 at bats, 283 average, 730 OPS isn't exactly that high. But to me, it looks like Crochet does have a pretty significant edge in this game. But I looked at the market and I'm like, what is going on? As the Red Sox are down from minus 180 to minus 162 here. 83% of tickets, only 75% of the cash. So the money is coming in against the Red Sox. And I don't really agree with it. For me, this game would be Red Sox or pass the game here. I just think they have too many advantages here. But maybe, I mean, the reason why the money looks like it is coming in against the Red Sox might just be because you're paying a tax for Garrett Crochet. Like, the line is a little bit too high. So maybe it's just a value play for some of these professional bettors. But I don't see it. I mean, I think the Red Sox should win this game. They have, I think, too many advantages in this game. And offensively, I don't think there's a huge difference between the two, but Red Sox probably have a slight edge there as well. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Very kind words, man. I woke up with a sore throat yesterday. I think we're getting like cold symptoms here. Obviously, it's COVID. No, I have no idea, but I was pounding like a bunch of vitamins. And shout out to Sunfluencer, which is Simon Godek. Is that his name? It's his thing. So I have some of their pills where it's basically just like they have different pills that are a combination of a bunch of different vitamins and minerals. Obviously, because they have sun in their name, obviously they have a vitamin D like profile on their main product, I'm pretty sure as well. So yeah, I've been doing that, pounding NyQuil as well, though, which is not as healthy, but just trying to crush this cold before it really happens. I think lack of sleep has really hurt me, man. I wasn't sleeping that much in Florida. It was a busy time. So Washington at San Diego here. San Diego actually lost yesterday 10-6, and I did mention I liked the over in this game yesterday. I did not love how it's set up for Kolek or Parker. Parker actually pitched pretty well, but then again, Washington's bullpen also sucks. So that happened in that game. The over happened pretty easily. Washington has the worst bullpen. They used some of their high leverage arms yesterday, but Finnegan is their closer, and he only made 3 pitches yesterday. So if they do need him, he's probably available again today. The Padres used a bunch of their better relievers, so their bullpen is the better bullpen, but it's in like a little bit worse shape right now rest-wise, so that kind of negates it a little bit. The pitching matchup in this game is also terrible. Trevor Williams pitching for Washington, bad numbers, 5.54 ERA, 1.45 whip. He's bad both home and away. It doesn't really matter. Not pitching well this month, really, either. 5.12 ERA, although he does have a 15-3 strikeout walk ratio this month, which looks decent. But he did face Texas, Miami, and Colorado all at home, so that's a little bit less impressive. In the last start they made against a good offense in the Cubs, he got lit up for 5 runs, we only walked 1 guy, but he went 4 1/3. Not a great start there for Williams. I don't like Williams. I don't think he's that good. They had lost 3 straight games behind him until that Colorado game. Of course, Colorado sucks. Up against San Diego, Williams, mediocre numbers in 54 at-bats, 278 average, 748 OPS. So, again, I don't love Williams here, but he's up against Ryan Bergert, or Bergert. I don't know how you pronounce this guy's name for San Diego. He's got a 1.88 ERA and 0.96 whip, so that looks pretty good, right? But they basically took him, I think they converted him from a relief pitcher into a starter this year, maybe because they didn't have anybody else. And since he's been going a starter's workload, yeah, San Diego's won 3 out of the 4 games. They actually beat Milwaukee, Dodgers, and they lost by 1 run to Arizona. So he actually did pitch pretty well, all things considered, in those games, because those are good offenses that he was facing. Has a 2.25 ERA over that span in June, allowed way fewer than 1 hit per inning, but he didn't go 5 innings in the last game. I don't know why they pulled him against the Dodgers, because he was shutting them out. 17-9 strikeout walk ratio over that span is a little bit concerning, and that number of walks is way too high. So he's got to get that number down. So not everything is good for him, but the Nats have never seen him before. So maybe he has a little bit of an edge there where Washington has never seen him before. But Bergert, we don't really know how long he's going to go in this game either. So San Diego might have to go to the bullpen first. So even though they have the better bullpen, the bullpen rest situation is not there. And it looks like money is coming in on the Washington side. Line down from minus 165 to minus 162. 93% of tickets, 77% of the cash, all on a home favorite San Diego team, obviously. But obviously San Diego is going to be public, and it looks like the money is basically just saying this is too much of a price to lay here. And there is money coming in on the under as well. Totals at 8.5, juice to the over, with 81% of tickets on the over, but 78% of cash on the under. So money is coming in on the under in that one. It is at a pitcher-friendly park. I don't really know that I would want anything to do with an under with a Trevor Williams game, though. And then Miami, San Francisco to close this out. San Francisco is staying at home off of a pretty big series against the Red Sox, because that was the Devers trade series there. And unfortunately, the Red Sox won the first game and lost the other two. Not good. Miami is traveling across the country, which sometimes is a little bit difficult when you're an East Coast team and you have to go West Coast for a late game like that. It messes with your biological clock. But then again, starting a road trip, you do tend to be a little bit more focused. So I can see arguments that it's a good spot for Miami in this game, but they are having to travel 3 time zones out there. San Francisco's staying in their own time zone. So still don't really love Miami here. Cal Quantrill is pitching for Miami. He's not having a good season. 5.68 ERA, 1.47 whip. He's been way worse on the road, too, with a 6.53 road ERA, so he's not been getting it done on the road. This month, 5.14 ERA, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio. Not great. Gone 5, 5, and 4 innings in each of those starts. He's typically not going more than 5. I don't think he's gone more than 5 innings any game this year. No, wait, he did once at Seattle, which is a pitcher-friendly park. Other than that, he hasn't even gone 5 innings. So I think you're going to expect Miami's bullpen is going to have to get into this game. And Miami's bullpen is pretty bad, so I don't think you want really anything. If you like Miami here, you definitely want to exclude the bullpens, because Miami's bullpen is bad, and San Francisco's bullpen is elite. So you do not want to have to deal with Miami's bullpen, where Miami is 4.5 ERA. They're in the bottom third, and San Francisco has the best bullpen ERA, a ridiculous 2.63. So if you like Miami, again, you want to look first 5 innings here. But I don't even know if I like that. I mean, Justin Verlander is pitching for the Giants. He is a very difficult pitcher to handicap at this point. 4.45 ERA, 1.43 whip. He still doesn't have a win because the Giants can't score. He's not pitching that well, really. In one start this month, he went 4 2/3, allowed 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 6-1 strikeout walk ratio was pretty good. But Verlander is definitely still trying to, I think, figure out how he can still use his pitches at 42 years old. He's not pitching particularly effectively, although granted, he has actually only allowed more than 3 earned runs twice this entire season, so that part of it isn't that bad. But he's kind of just like, I don't know, wiling his way through some of these starts. He hasn't gone 5 innings in his last 2, though. So not really a great sign for Verlander. And Miami actually has good numbers against him. It's a small 17 at-bat sample size, though. But they do have a 294 average and 780 OPS against him, which isn't that bad. Wagaman, is that how you pronounce his name? Is 3 for 5 off him with 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, and a strikeout. So maybe some player prop potential there. I just don't know how to even handicap Justin Verlander at this point, man. The money is fading San Francisco, though, and I do think San Francisco is probably favored by too much here. They're down from -190 to -172. 83% of tickets, 69% of the cash on them. So the cash percentage is going against them. Low total. It's sitting around 7.5 or 8. With 79% of tickets, only 73% of the cash on the over. And we know San Francisco plays a lot of low-scoring games. Both offenses are pretty bad. So if this is going to be a lower-scoring game, it also does mean there's more value in looking to the underdog, because if it's a closer game, they have a better chance to win it. So that's going to do it, man. That's the entire baseball slate and WNBA. Got it done fairly quickly. Once again, the plays that I'm recommending here are Toronto Blue Jays money line, Cincinnati Reds on the spread at +0.5 run in the first 5 innings, Milwaukee full game run line, -1.5 runs, and St. Louis +100 on the money line. That full game as well. Toronto also full game. That's going to do it, man. And I like Seattle, but that's the one I'm leaving off the card right now. But Seattle would be the next one up. I do like them as well today. That's going to do it for me. Tower Gang, or not Tower Gang Toad, excuse me. Learn to Toad on Twitter now. Patreon.com/Tower Gang if you still want to support the show that is not doing anything right now, but you can still at least, if you do subscribe to the Patreon, you'll have access to all the bonus content that's out there and relive the good days, man. That's about it. GiveSendGo.com/Tower Gang Toad is still out there for now if you want to throw me any donations or anything. You can also tip me through Twitter/X as well. That's going to do it, man. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. JR, just in under the gun, man. Shout out everybody in the chat. I think I got everybody that was in there today. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let's have a good one. Good Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I think it is. Peace out, everybody.